Welcome to Kerr. Well, Kirst, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about how we met.
That sounds lame. We're talking about how to find a wife or husband 101. Or even just a girl or man.
Or a boy.
A boy, girl, a woman, male, female, a baby. Not babies. We'll talk about babies later. Alright, so, Kirst, what was it? What did I do that just slayed you so hard?
I liked that we started simple. I liked that our first date was a quick lunch date.
That's actually a good point. A really good point. In fact, that's tip number 1. Keep it simple at the beginning especially. That's if you're asking someone on a first date, it shouldn't be 5 hours. It shouldn't be $100 unless you're rich, asking another rich person, maybe for the actors. But for the common folk, it should be something simple. What was our date for first date, Kirst?
We went to lunch. We were both in college and classes, and I was busy. And you called me up and asked if I could go to lunch. And I said, I have class until 3 and I have work at 4. And he said, well, let's do a late lunch at 3. And I said, all right.
So we did a half-hour lunch. It was so simple. It wasn't a super nice, fancy place. It was just lunch.
And it just left me wanting more.
Or compare that to the guy who takes the girl out on a 5-hour first date, and maybe the first 2, maybe even the first 3 hours are really fun, but by the end she's not happy.
She feels like that.
And guess how many times she's going to go out with you again after that? It's true. Tip number 2, I called Kirsten. This is pretty advanced for 2020. We're a little bit old school on this channel. Man up and woman up and pick up the phone and press the green button. Actually, story on this one. One of my buddies was pretty into a girl, and apparently she hates when guys call her. A guy called her on a date, and she ghosted him because she was like, I don't like that. Well, she needs to grow up.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of phone calls unless it's for a date.
Yeah, I don't like phone calls that much either, and I probably need to grow up too.
I like that you called me.
Because here's the thing, and the 30-year-olds watching will get this, but the 20-year-olds are going to be a little confused with this. You need to show that you're an adult, that you're mature, you're independent, and you're a man or you're a woman. You're not a boy or a girl. You're a man or a woman, okay?
And you're serious about it. It's a real
and you're
date.
Serious.
It's not just hanging out.
Okay?
That's one of the ways I knew. You wanted to ask me out. You called me.
Exactly. That would be tip number 3, say it's a date. Hey, Brig. Look at the success these tips brought us. Tip number 3. Kirst?
I don't have the tips memorized.
Tip number 3.
Maybe we should write all the tips down and then do it.
Well, we just said one tip for tip number 3. What was that?
I don't know.
All right.
Say it's a date.
Tip number 3, say it's a date. Separates the men from the boys and the women from the girls, okay? You want to know what age group hangs out and which age group texts for a date? Teenagers, maybe even younger, and young, immature college folks.
If you're serious about going on a date, make it obvious that it's a date.
Hey, I want to take you out on a date.
And that always feels good.
Kirsten,
even when you said that.
Kirsten, will you go on a date with me?
Yeah.
It's so simple. It is scary.
Is it still scary?
Not anymore. Especially if you think she or he is cute. But just man up and say it's a date, or woman up, okay?
I think this is important. Our first interaction. I was going to say, our first interaction was not a date. We'd known each other for a while, and we'd hung out a bunch before we went on our first date.
A few times, yeah.
And so I think that's also important, is kind of getting to know each other before going on a date.
We have a different video for disagreements in a relationship, okay? The reason I disagree is just because, let's say you just met someone at the library.
The library.
Anyway, you meet someone, you think they're cool, you get their number, you call them and you ask them on a date, okay?
It's not weird.
It's not weird at all. I've done it 1,000 times. It only worked once. On to tip number 4. There should be a 4 in between. Friends before intimacy. This is a big tip. Way bigger than number 3 and number 2.
Yeah.
Maybe number 1. Some of you guys know this. Some of you don't. If you're building a pyramid, doing intimacy and then friendship is like building a pyramid upside down, which obviously not going to work very well. That's about it. I mean, that's all there is to say about it. And the thing is, intimacy will come naturally as you become good friends. Right, Kirst?
Yeah. I think it took us 5 dates for you to ask to hold my hand.
Yeah, that could be... Yeah, that could maybe be another tip. I don't know. I don't know if I should have asked. What do you think about that, Kirst?
I liked that you asked.
She liked
But
it.
that was just me. I mean, some other people probably would just want you to hold their hand. But I was kind of nervous too, so it gave me the option to say yes or no, and obviously I said yes.
5 dates is a lot to hold a hand.
It was kind of a lot. Maybe 5 dates was a little long. I think
after
after like the 3rd date, I wasn't sure if you still liked me because we hadn't. Maybe this is my last chance.
Ooh. I was thinking it was my last chance. But the point is, we became friends first, and that's a fact. Tip number 5, our final tip of the video, drumroll, is... What is it, Kirst? Let them know. Tip number 5 is...
Before you want a good, solid relationship, you kind of need a good, solid yourself.
And that means a few things. First is you want to be independent. You shouldn't be dating someone because, oh, I just need a boy or I just need a girl.
Yeah.
That's unhealthy. Okay? We're not doctors. That's unhealthy. Be independent. That's the first part. Second part is you need to be the level that you want them to be. Okay?
Oh, yeah, very, very true.
A wise man, a leader in our church actually said, he was talking to the men, single men. He said, some of you are waiting for the perfect woman to come around. Listen, if there was a perfect woman, do you think she'd really want you? It was the biggest roast of all time in that kind of meeting. But the point is, you've got to elevate yourself to whatever level you want. If you're not being the best that you can be, you're never going to attract that type of woman or that type of man. And you don't want to be in a long-term relationship with someone who's below your potential. So that's a huge tip. I'm glad we ended on tip number 5. That's a great tip, Kirst. Anything you want to add to that?
I think if you've been in a relationship and it didn't work out and you're trying to get back in the dating game, to take time to kind of figure yourself out so that you can have that independence, so you're not just hopping from relationship to relationship. Because I think there are probably a good number of people out there that want a relationship but maybe don't feel like they are independent or they are confident. And I don't know.
Yeah, how do you get independent? How do you get confident?
That might be a topic for another video.
I know a way to get confident is you got to work on self-improvement. And I had to do that. Trust me. My very top just hits Kirst's like kind of lower quarter, but it was just enough to get her. Point is, what I had to do is I had to set goals for myself. Maybe it's you need to cut back on the video games, or maybe you need to work a little bit harder at work, or maybe you need to work out more, maybe you need to eat healthier, maybe you need to meditate more. J. Cole. Maybe you need to go to church again or say your prayers more. It's those little goals, but you should say, all right, how can I be better today than yesterday? You'll be ready.
That's how you'll get that confident. And then people will be attracted to you.
Absolutely. All right, that's our video for the day, folks. Hope you liked it. Thumbs if you liked it. Subs if you loved it.
Oh my God.
Dave 2D.
Should we do a summary?
I can't remember the 5 tips.